Hello friends, welcome to another video from my series Quick Thoughts On, in which I always talk about different stories from the rich Star Trek universe. When I checked my YouTube page today, I noticed that the second season of Star Trek Discovery has started, and wow, this is the very first time ever I didn't know that a new Star Trek season has started. So I have immediately checked it. The episode was called Brother, and these are my honest opinions about it. If you have seen my previous Discovery videos, you know that I do them spoiler-free. They are usually shorter than most of my videos, and they are done right after my first viewing of the episode. So let me get this straight. I don't like Star Trek Discovery. I wanted to love it. I desperately wanted to love it, but I don't. I can't. I don't want to watch the first season ever again, which is a feeling which I never had in my life about anything Star Trek related. And the only reason I watched the first episode of season 2 was that people who claimed that they didn't like the first season wrote online that this episode was great. Well, I watched it. Great is definitely not a word I would use, but it wasn't as bad as I was afraid of. So let's start with the positive things. Number 1 is Ensign Mount. He plays the new captain. For some reason they call him Pike, but he is definitely not Jeffrey Hunter's Pike. He's something like a cross between Pike and Kirk, and more Kirk than Pike, but he's the best thing about this episode. We finally get a character I can actually like. In the case you haven't seen my videos about the first season, I liked Tilly in some episodes and I liked Saru in some episodes. And I hated every other character, and I was hoping they will all die. So now we finally have a charming man I can actually care about. There was a huge action scene with this guy, and I must admit that I was afraid he might get killed. This was the very first time in Discovery I was afraid that somebody might get killed. I'm used to hope that characters get killed. So to sum it up, Ensign Mount's character is not the quote-unquote real Captain Pike, but he still is an awesome character. What is the second thing I liked about this episode? Well, we finally get introduced to the other bridge characters. Finally. So they won't be just Robot Girl, the woman with that thing on her eye, the black guy, the Asian guy, and that black chick. We have been finally told what are their names, and we even see short bits showing us some of their personalities. Great, I want to see more of this. But the bad news, these things are the only two things which I liked about this episode. So warning, here is where the ranting begins. I don't like Michael Burnham, not because she's black, not because she's a woman, but because she should be in jail, but instead the show treats her like a hero. I thought that I can't dislike her more, but I was wrong. This episode shows us again that she is the bestest ever. She's Mary Sueing her way through the episode, and she even manages to be horrible to the two new male characters. For no reason. First of all, one of the new men, whose name I don't remember because he will die soon anyway, gets sneezed on by an alien in the elevator. We have seen it in the trailers, so that's definitely not a spoiler. And Michael thinks it's funny. If this happened to me, I would take the green stuff off my face and smear it all over her face. Why is this potential biohazard treated like a joke? Why is nobody reacting to it in any way except for Michael? Why doesn't even the alien at least apologize or something? Or give him a paper tissue? Michael's second bad behavior is against her new captain. Again, she seems to have something against superior officers. There is a scene in which he gives suggestions how to solve a problem, and the only things he hears are excuses why his ideas can't be done. So he tells in relatively calmly that he wants to hear some actually helpful suggestions, to which Michael responds in a very angry and hostile tone. Why? He was being completely calm. Why does she behave like she's angry? That her superior officer politely asked her for her suggestion. I really hope she will die in the last episode. Many of the old Season 1 characters return, and all of them are different. Different meaning worse. Stamets was perfectly okay that his husband or boyfriend or lover or partner or whatever. See, why is this that I don't know after a whole season what their relation was? I should not be asking these questions. But again, he was fine with his death. He didn't have any emotional problems. In this episode, however, he is sad, depressed, and he looks almost suicidal. Why? Where did this come from? And he wants to leave this discovery? That's actually great news for me, because I don't like these characters. But why the sudden change of character? Tilly was one of the two characters I liked in the first season, at least in most of the episodes. She started the first season as a socially awkward nerd. She was so awkward that many people have thought that she actually might have Asperger syndrome, but she changed during the run of the first season. She grew as a person, and she was a very charming and pretty confident woman in the end. Not extremely confident, just normally confident. Here, however, she is again a socially awkward nerd. Why? Why is she a completely different character than she was in the previous episode, which should take place right before this one? There is one new character, a new chief engineer, played by a woman I have never seen before, but apparently she's a famous comedian. The sad thing is that she wasn't funny. Absolutely nothing she said or done was funny. The whole time I was watching the show, I felt like she's struggling not to fall asleep. It felt like she's on drugs or something. As I said, I have never seen her before, so I can't tell if this is her style, or if this was what the director, Alex Kurtzman, wanted from her. We also see Spock in this episode, but only as a creepy little boy. Creepy as hell. He looks like he wants to kill your whole family. This is not who Spock was as a child. We know how he was during his childhood thanks to the one and only DC Fontana. Have the writers actually seen any of the classic Star Trek episodes? Little Spock wasn't a creep. He was a little likable kid who got bullied by other kids because he was mixed race. Just check the wonderful episode called Yesteryear. Final thoughts? This episode is much better than the majority of the episodes of Season 1, but I still wouldn't call it good. It was a huge problem with the tone. I mean, there is a huge action sequence where our quote-unquote heroes are in danger of dying soon, and it's intercut with extremely lame jokes. It completely ruins the tension of the sequence. It is also, however, the worst thing any story can be. It's boring. It was nice to see a new version of the classic uniforms on the Enterprise crew, but unfortunately they also started to wear the weird-looking jogging suits like the rest of the Discovery. Overall, this episode can be described as a wasted opportunity, but still has potential. On my standard scale, from 0 to 10, where 0 is complete garbage, 10 is a masterpiece, and 5 is just average, I would give this episode 5 out of 10. After Season 2 ends, I will hopefully find the courage to properly break down both of the seasons, and I'm curious if my rating will change. Anyway, thanks to everybody for watching this video, and see you very soon I promise I have a new job, so I can't do daily videos anymore, but I will get back to a semi-regular upload schedule as soon as possible. So thanks to everybody who still watched this video, and bye.